We're back in Maple Grove, still not to be confused with Angel Grove, as the opening week continues for high school girls basketball. We have two teams with two different definitions of grueling stretches. The Maple Grove Crimson, playing their second of three straight Lake Conference teams to open the season, take on the Eden Prairie Eagles. Eden Prairie beginning a stretch of 3 games in 3 days and 4-5 to open their season. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Peden, joined by Alex Nagel. And Alex, as you heard, Maple Grove 3 straight Lake Conference teams to start the season. They lost to Wayzata on Tuesday. They get Eden Prairie tonight. They play Minnetonka on Saturday. Eden Prairie, 3 games in 3 days. They have 2 dates with the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic. They started their season on Tuesday with a win over Park Center. So in 2 different senses, stamina and endurance will be tested for these 2 teams.
No question about it, Mike. And, we talked about a little bit about that this last weekend, that baptism by fire aspect. I guess this is the pure definition of it right here.
For Maple Grove, they are dealing with some adversity as well. Ari Gordon out, non-COVID related illness. They hope to have her back Saturday, and as you know, if you're sick, stay home. No one taking any chances here. So that hurts their depth a little bit, but they have plenty of experience in Kennedy Klick and Kyla Overskei, and they have some up-and-comers as well, including the freshman Jordan Odie.
They really do, Mike. This Maple Grove team is an interesting squad because you have to keep in mind, this is a squad that graduated 5 seniors from last year that all played big roles on this team. You look at players like Jordan Lamke, now at St. Thomas, Kylie Baronic, now at Gustavus, Izzy Brandt, another one who started last year. They're gone now. So this is a new cast of characters that, in a sense, is really trying to create a new image and identity for itself.
Eden Prairie's identity needs no retooling. Ellen Weesey told me before the game, and this probably goes for anyone who has heard of Eden Prairie. You know all about Nia Holloway, who's going to Minnesota next year, but they have a lot of talent. Myra Moorjani, she's back from an ACL tear. She will play 2 sports at UMD. Molly Lenz is another one. Savannah Jones, this Eden Prairie team in the toughest conference in the state in the Lakes. Well, we'll see what happens, but Ellen Weesey feeling optimistic, and she said, my kids are ready for 3 games in 3 days. Considering the workload they get in the AAU season, I think they can handle the challenge.
Toughest conference and that murderous section too, Mike. Ellen Weesey feels that this team is very well-rounded in terms of age and experience, and don't be surprised if they make a big splash this year.
We'll have to see. As Alex noted, they are in a brutal section with Minnetonka and Chaska, but no section seeding decided tonight. Just a hard-fought game awaits us. Stick around.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
James, she's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
We're here at Maple Grove High School. It's a venue Alex is familiar with owing to his Northwest Suburban Conference coverage. We're introducing the starters.
I feel much more at home, too.
I could understand that. Maple Grove, though, expected to be the top contender in the Northwest Suburban, at least in their division. But how about Totino Grace? They started their season with a win over Benilde St. Margaret's. I know they have it tough being the only 3A school, but a win over a team with Olivia Olson, that's nothing to sneeze at.
No.
Eden Prairie having a successful fall season. 2 of their teams made it to state, football and volleyball. As the starters are being introduced. Eagles 1-0. They beat Park Center convincingly on Tuesday, but Park Center looking a lot different than they used to. without Adalia McKenzie.
It's certainly a different look in the Northwest Suburban Conference this year. You know, the faces that you've always been so familiar with watching over the last few years, they've moved on.
That's what happens, though. The players, they stay the same. We get older, but like you said, Alex, a lot of Maple Grove seniors in last year's team.
And if you remember last year, things kind of ended on a sour note for Maple Grove with the injury to Jordan Lamker. I think this team has a lot that they want to prove this year, too.
And we finish up the introductions. So here are the starters. Now that they've been introduced, we'll recap them for you. Eden Prairie will start Molly Lenz, Annika Anderson, Myra Moorjani, Tori Schlegel, and Nia Holloway. Nia, the Minnesota recruit, as you know. Maple Grove will start Audrey Corman, Claire Stern, Kara Hogue, Kyla Overskei, and Jordan Odie. And don't forget, Kennedy Klick coming off the bench, and Maple Grove. I'd like to think when Ari Gordon returns and is healthy, this could be a team to keep an eye on. Again, Maple Grove starting their season. 3 straight Lake Conference teams. They get St. Michael Albertville in December. They're not in the same section this year. Maple Grove in 5, STMA in 8, but this Maple Grove team, they've been a competitive bunch for the last several years.
You know, I think it's, especially when you have basically a brand new cast of starters for Maple Grove, it's going to be very important, I think, for head coach Mark Cook to develop his bench, get them minutes, and get them experience.
Eden Prairie 1-0, Maple Grove 0-1. This will be the first big test for Eden Prairie. They get Egan tomorrow and Lakeville North on Saturday. You know Lakeville North, they're always in the mix. There's Holloway to Lenz. Three on the way is good for Tori Schlegel, number 33. And the Eagles with the early jump. Maple Grove facing some pressure defense from EP. They're able to get past it. Baseline drive, kick out, 3-ball, corner pocket. Kyla Overskei.
3-point shot becoming quite the thing here in the early going for both squads.
As we noted last weekend, Alex, 3-point shooting such a vital element in basketball, men or
sure
women.
Is.
If you want to have success, the perimeter shot is a key to get there. Anderson, short on the 3. And a dead ball rebound to Maple Grove. And Alex, I'm sure we'll talk about this throughout, but we can't go any further without mentioning the big development that was announced today. The Minnesota State High School League approving a shot clock for the 2023-24 season. Like you saw in the Pat Patterson invite, it will be a 35-second clock. Maple Grove turns it over.
And we saw the first mistake there caused by that Eden Prairie pressure defense. You know, I have to tell you, Mike, it's something that I've wanted to see happen for a while, but I wasn't expecting it to happen this soon.
For me, it was a matter of when, not if. You had a couple of high-profile examples of what can happen without it. Lenz with the drive and kick to Holloway for 3. That's short. And the rebound goes to Claire Stern. Overskei. We're tied at 3 in the early going. 3 on the way. Off the rim, no good. This is Lenz. Up. Can't bank it off the window. And a traveling call on number 31, Jordan Odie. There are a couple of high-profile examples regarding the shot clock, Alex. The 2014 state semifinal in boys basketball, Hopkins Shakopee that went 4 overtimes. And then a few years ago, Waseca Marshall in section play when Marshall played stall ball. And if you ask me, effectively squandered the game to Waseca because they were the trailing team.
Yeah.
But Moorjani out to Holloway. She'll try the three again. This time it's pure. I don't think EP, if they had a shot clock now, this Eagles team wouldn't need it.
Probably not.
Maple Grove breaking the press. Audrey Corman with the bucket.
Nice move by Corman, the junior.
6-5 Eagles with the early lead. 15-15 to go. Holloway almost lost her balance. Goes back out to Molly Lenz. Lenz using her first step. Oh, nice dish to Holloway. Nia just snuck behind the double coverage.
Yep, drew those two defenders down and left her open.
I'm impressed that a 6'1" stretch four, I guess, was able to sneak in there.
Yeah.
Nia's not exactly small. And the Eagles force a 10-second call on Maple Grove.
Mark Cook going to his bench now.
And that bench includes Kennedy Klick and Ava Cosette. Ava played on the Fury 2024 team with Olivia Olson that did big things this year. Kennedy Klick came over from De La Salle, played on two North Tartan teams this year. The 16U and 17U teams. Molly Lenz can't hit the three. Nia Holloway, I should add, was a teammate of Klick on the AAU circuit. Runner from Odie, no good, gets her own rebound, puts it back. 8-7, Eden Prairie over Maple Grove. These two teams met 2 years ago at the Breakdown Tip-Off Classic. That game went down to the wire, and Holloway's fouled, and foul before the shot. One thing I've noticed, Alex, in the early part of the season, a lot of teams that had series or home and homes or something to that effect scheduled, many of them are resuming it. Maple Grove couldn't play outside the conference last year.
Yeah, right.
So we have a delayed resumption of some of these rivalry series that we've come to expect.
And that's a good thing to have.
Well, as we said in the open, these are two teams who could be in the conversation come state tournament time.
Absolutely.
So this is a key game. Nice. Jordan Odie with a nice slip underneath.
I tell you, that was a great pass and great
Klick.
court knowledge here by Kennedy Klick.
She recognized the opening, and Jordan Odie cashed in. Maple Grove takes the lead. Holloway through a defender and in. Nia Holloway, I last saw her or broadcast a game of hers as a sophomore. It's early, but she looks so much better compared to her sophomore season. Timeout, Maple Grove.
Mark Cook wants to talk about that pressure defense that Ellen Weesey is employing with her Eden Prairie Eagles. Getting back to the shot clock thing that we were discussing earlier, again, I mean, it's something that I've wanted to see happen for a while now. The timing of it kind of surprised me, and I guess the reason I say that is because I couldn't help but wonder about the cost element when it comes to this.
That's something schools like Maple Grove will have to factor. There are several schools that do have clocks in place. They'll be ready to go, but for schools that don't, I imagine there probably will be some fundraisers, maybe some donors can chip in. It's not cheap to put in a clock.
No.
Other coaches are worried about who they'll get to run the clock. It's not as simple as just hitting the reset button. Yeah. There is a rule to it, but I think we'll get it sorted out. We saw it at the Pat Patterson tip-off. It really didn't come into play all that much.
Yeah.
There were maybe one or two times where a team was in danger of turning it over on a shot clock violation. I think it's a logical step in this game. We have the restricted zone. We added that a few years ago. Kennedy Klick with the offensive rebound and the kick out. 3 no good. And Kennedy Klick, is that going to be a foul? Okay, I thought it might have been a foul on Klick for reaching over.
That's what I was thinking too. But it's going to be important tonight for Maple Grove to get those second and third opportunities.
Instead, it's a foul on Moorjani, so she must have made contact before Klick tried to reach for that rebound. In any case, it's Maple Grove ball. Overskei. That was deflected.
Moorjani busted up that pass.
And even without Ari Gordon, we should know Maple Grove, they were hanging around with Wyzetta. They just ran into a hot Mara Braun. She hit 8 triples, 37 points on Tuesday. Pass intercepted by Moorjani. Myra, the kick out to Lenz for 3. The rebound goes to number 3, Kyla Nygaard. Jordan Odie up to 6 in the early going. Odie giving us intrepid interior penetration.
Strong move by the Willowy Jr., Mike.
Well, Odie is a freshman, actually.
Oh, she is.
But she doesn't play like one, and
No.
Mark Cook,
Certainly not on that move.
I talked to Mark Cook a little bit beforehand. He really likes the youth that coming up on this Maple Grove program. Nia Holloway into traffic. That should be a tie-up, and it is. Maple Grove with the arrow, 11-10 to score.
Great defense by the Crimson on that one. Collapsing on Nia Holloway.
Ashley Fritz entering the game for the Eagles. She wears 22. EP brings the pressure again, deflected, and Molly Lenz with the steal. Here's Moorjani.
Oh,
blocked!
Kennedy Klick with a fantastic block. What an athletic move.
And she got it back to Moorjani, so not only did she get the block, she forces the turnover on the fast break. Kennedy Klick, the southpaw. Remember, she had some solid credentials, played a season at Maranatha, played another season at De La Salle, was in position for a 2020 state tournament title, but the pandemic put an end to that. Then things at De La Salle fell apart. That's another 10-second call. Kennedy Klick came over here, and Mark Cook is happy to have her.
Not happy with that 10-second call.
That's the second time EP has forced a 10-second call on Maple Grove. Eden Prairie reached the state tournament back in 2020, lost to Farmington in the quarterfinal. Nia Holloway in trouble, but Eden Prairie gets out of the jam. Lenz. There's Savannah Jones. Savannah played well on the Metro Stars 2022 team. Lenz trying to shake her defender and drew the foul on Kara Hogue. .11:03 left in the first half. Maple Grove leads 11-10. Jones. That's a 3, and unable to bank it was Fritz. Holloway trying to get the O-board. Ran out of real estate. Schlegel going back in.
Eden Prairie showing that press again here, Mike. See if Maple Grove can break it this time. You've got to be decisive with your passes when you have that pressure.
They got Kennedy Klick trapped in the corner, and all she could do was bounce it off Fritz. We're used to seeing Hopkins run the full court press.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the other teams have said if you can't beat him, join him or something like that, but the fact that Eden Prairie is using it against Maple Grove speaks to the athleticism that Ellen Wiese feels she has in this team. And
well, and that's when you run that kind of a pressure defense that Eden Prairie uses, you have to have the right kind of athletes to do that.
When Ellen Wiese spoke highly of her players, he said, you all know about Nia Holloway, but she had a lot to say about several other key contributors on this team. Klick lost the dribble, and it's intercepted by Schlegel. Well, there's one of them. Schlegel to Jones. Eden Prairie with some impressive defensive stops on sets and a couple of 10-second calls. Offensively, they've gotten some production out of Holloway, but not much else so far. That's going to be a foul on Audrey Corman.
Personal foul is on Audrey Corman of the Crimson number 5. That's Audrey's first personal third team foul.
And they call it a shooting foul, so that will send Molly Lenz to the line for 2. I'm a little perplexed. I don't know if Lenz was in the act of shooting, but she'll have a chance to earn some points at the line. Molly Lenz. Get this. She calls her car Bonnie. She knocks down both free throws to get on the board, and Ellen Wiese says, a true point guard exhibits complete control of the game at all times. So Lenz gets on the board. Maple Grove facing some pressure. 3 from the wing. Bullseye. Ava Cassette, who was one of the many sharpshooters on the Fury 2024 team. Schlegel can't hit the 3. Jump ball, Eden Prairie with the arrow. 14-12, Crimson lead the Eagles. Overskei checking back in for the Eagles. Holloway going back in, or I should say Crimson. Holloway going back in for the Eagles. Lenz finds Jones, but she ran into a wall. This is Overskei. On the run, Nia Holloway with the rejection. Holloway, she's got some vertical, and she's not afraid to go get blocks, but Schlegel lost the dribble. Klick picks it up. Doesn't have the numbers to go all the way, so she'll look for help, and she'll find it.
Good passing there by the Crimson.
That gets Claire Stern on the board.
Stepped on the line.
Anderson did step on the line, and Maple Grove forcing another turnover. 9 minutes, 12 seconds on the clock.
Moorjani back in.
Moorjani, we should point out, will play 2 sports at UMD, soccer and basketball.
Wow.
She tore her ACL last year playing soccer, and I joked with her, I'm like, you're still crazy enough to play 2 sports, but you know what? If you can make it work, go for it.
Yeah.
Crimson ball. Klick had an opening for a second. Now trying to beat Moorjani on the step back, and that didn't work out, but she does get the foul.
Second personal, second team. Substitution for the Eagles. Returning is Fritz, 22.
And Moorjani does come out now with that second foul because he knew Ellen Wiese had to make a decision there.
Klick. Holloway with the rebound. Holloway is fouled and she'll shoot 2. Nia Holloway is a big history buff. She helped start the Black Student Union with volleyball athlete Kendall Minta at Eden Prairie. Her favorite author is Angie Thomas. If the name sounds familiar, Angie wrote the book The Hate You Give, which was adapted into a movie a few years ago.
Oh.
That movie featuring Amanda Stenberg and the now current Captain America, Anthony Mackie. Nia also part of the Dare to Be Real program, which is an anti-racism initiative. at Eden Prairie. She splits at the line, but the Eagles do get the rebound. And a three is on the way from Anderson. That's no good. Stern. Out to Klick. Kennedy will back off. (16-13). Another block for Holloway.
Right into a wall there.
Eden Prairie a little out of control. Lenz through traffic and in. Molly Lenz.
Smart move by Molly Lenz.
That's her first field goal, and it comes at an opportune time for Eden Prairie. 16-15. Maple Grove says right back at you. Jordan Odie with the drive and the finish.
I tell you what, Mike, I really like the patience that Maple Grove is showing in their half-court offense.
And that patience is helping them hold off Eden Prairie. They haven't led by a whole lot, but it feels that way because they're able to answer every Eden Prairie basket. That's going to be a foul on Molly Lenz.
Personal fouls on Molly Lenz, number 3 of the Eagles, her first 13.
Jordan Odie, by the way, when she's not doing basketball, runs cross country and plays the saxophone.
Oh, very well-rounded.
I don't know too many basketball players who can also double as saxophonists. That three from Overskei was off the mark. Rebound goes to Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie swings it around, three ball. Anderson can't hit from the corner. Six and a half, a little less than that to go in the first half. Baseline drive, no good. Lenz scoops it up. Bounces it over to Holloway. Nia can't finish, but floats it in.
Strong offensive rebound there by Nia Holloway.
She's 6'1", so I'm guessing she'll be something of a tweener at Minnesota, but you know what? Nia Holloway can do a little bit of everything.
Well, I
Maple
tell you
Grove
what,
with the three-point play chance.
what a great pass. Great recognition.
Kyla Overskei.
Personal foul is Nagel.
Kyla Overskei, I don't know how you are with this, Alex, but she does not like shopping for anything.
That's interesting.
She also plays or plans to play golf in the spring and a member of the National Honor Society and the Link Crew, but I've never met anyone, or I should say I've rarely met anyone who doesn't like shopping, but
No.
you know what? It is a time suck. Having to go shopping. It's a huge time consumer. Especially if you're not into it. But she does complete the three-point play. And it's 21-17. Crimson over Eagles. Lenz steps into the elbow J. And that was created. I'm not sure if Odie was trying to sell anything. I didn't see a lot of contact, but Molly Lenz recognizing the opportunity.
I tell you, just what a great touch by Molly Lenz with that little jumper.
It's like Ellen Weesey was telling me beforehand, it's not just Nia Holloway who makes this team go. Kennedy Klick to the line. She will shoot two.
Personal foul is Nia Holloway, number 41 for Eden Prairie. That's her first 15 foul.
That's the first personal on Nia Holloway. Kennedy Klick to the line. She scored 15 points in the season opener against Wyzetta. And this gets her on the board. Kennedy played well at De La Salle, and again, it's not easy having to play for two A teams in AAU.
Yeah.
That meant a lot of back-to-backs, but she was able to manage her stamina. And it helped that on the 17U team, she wasn't a starter, so she could chip in a few bench minutes as she gets to deflection.
She just came up big there with that deflection of that pass. Incredible, great young athlete.
Klick, a junior. It feels like she's been around longer. I thought she was a senior, but that's what missing a season can do to you.
Yeah.
Holloway thought about the three, goes up against her AAU teammate. They tried a little pick and roll, but Schlegel's pass was too high.
Yeah, a little miscommunication there. And now, a chance here for Maple Grove to expand that lead a little bit.
Thursday night basketball in Maple Grove. Overskei to Klick. Here comes Kennedy. Right into the hands of Holloway. I don't think she was expecting it. Nia Holloway finishes on the fast break. Schlegel with the dime. I'm not sure Kennedy knew Nia was there.
Looked to me like she just lost the ball. I don't know. I don't think anybody hit her hands or the ball.
Lost her ball or lost her concentration.
Yeah.
We have an offensive foul on Maple Grove. And it's on Kyla Nygaard. .4:15 to go. Both teams with one foul left to give. Can Eden Prairie tie or take the lead? We shall see. Overskei almost had the pick there. Nope, that was Stern, I should say. Holloway trying to work her way around traffic. Whoa!
So you talk about work, and Nia Holloway just did it right there.
Nia Holloway showing a degree of fearlessness there. Normally, coaches wouldn't advise that, taking a shot against traffic like that. But you know what? That's something you're going to run into at the Big Ten. That's not to say you should be taking contested shots all the time, but can you finish in a situation like that? Nia Holloway proved she can in that play. And we all know Kobe Bryant, he was a master at that. He never had a shot, never met a shot he didn't like in his career. Maple Grove ducking underneath. Audrey Corman to the line for two.
Tell you what, this new cast of characters from Maple Grove already showing their worth in this first half, Mike. Not being intimidated at all.
Corman recorded just 1 point against Wayzata. So she hit her first field goal of the season in this game. Kennedy Klick goes in the game. Corman knocks down both free throws. And the Crimson go back up by two, 25-23. Schlegel, top of the key, short. But the carom goes to number 4, Kylie Bamlett. Ellen Weesey thinks Bamlett could be poised for a breakout season. She's the junior. 3 on the way from Anderson is short. And watching this Eden Prairie team and seeing who has chipped in so far, even though most of the scoring has come from 2 players, Nia Holloway and I, we were joking about the athletes that have come through with all the transfers to Minnetonka and some of the other schools. But you know what? Eden Prairie, just because they may not make a splash in the transfer portal doesn't mean they don't have athletes.
Right.
We've got some fine ones here, including Molly Lenz.
Yep.
Holloway back on the floor. Anderson to Lenz. Tried to beat Klick on the step back, couldn't hit the 14-footer. 2.5 to go. Klick. Tried the ball fake. Maple Grove fires the 3 off the back iron. Lenz scoops it up and draws the foul. That is the last to give, or I should say Maple Grove in the penalty now. So Stern hit with a foul and Lenz to the line for a 1-and-1. Lenz only had 6 points on Tuesday, but didn't need to score as Eden Prairie beat Park Center 93-36. Again, that matchup a little different than the last time they played each other 2 years ago when you had Adalia McKenzie in the lineup. Park Center rebuilding. But Eden Prairie, it doesn't get much easier. You talked about the brutal Section 2. Leah Dasovich told me last week there are no bad teams in that group. Not this year. You figure Minnetonka and Chaska and EP are going to be in the conversation. But Prior Lake has some up-and-comers. Chanhassen is Callan Hake. Shakopee, they're no slouch.
No.
In fact, they almost got a win against Chaska on Tuesday to open the season. Waconia, we saw them last weekend. They had 18 wins a year ago.
Very impressive. Let's see how Maple Grove, if they can control these last 2 minutes with a patient half-court offense. They were doing it before.
(25-25), 151 remains in the first half. Overskei with the 3. Yes! Overskei up to 9. Jones left alone, and she gets on the board on the high-low transition play. 28-27. This has been a tight one from the start. Maple Grove gets the bucket. Corman missed the initial shot, but got the rebound and the putback. Lenz. Anderson backs out. Here comes Molly. Up and in.
Well, there's one for the highlight reels by Molly Lenz, I tell you what.
Lenz with 10. Holloway with 14. Keeping Eden Prairie around. Less than a minute to go in the first half. That's a foul on Annika Anderson. I'll tell you what, I don't know that official's name, but he's got some pipes. There is no question as to what's going on.
Yeah.
1-and-1 for Audrey Corman.
Tell you what, it's been a solid first half for Corman, has it not, Mike?
Better than the game against Wyzetta, where she only managed 1 point. Maple Grove 7-7 from the line, 40 seconds left in the first half. Jones to Lenz. Had nowhere to go.
Now here's a chance for Maple Grove where he can hold for the last shot.
They may not want to. Well, Savannah Jones saw an opportunity and gets the steal on the fast break. And instead, Eden Prairie has a chance for a three-point play. So Savannah Jones and her defensive hustle could set up a 5-point swing.
Yeah, I tell you what, Mark Cook's worst fears come true on that sequence of events.
Tori Schlegel, the freshman. She completes the three-point play, and we're tied with 16 seconds left in the first half. Deep three. Rims out. And that should be, well, Nia Holloway gets that off and almost knocks it in. But that doesn't diminish her first half. 14 points. Molly Lenz with 10. But a three-point play by Tori Schlegel gives us a 32-32 score as we head to the halftime intermission.
Disappointing, I'm sure, for head coach Myra Cook and his staff with that last sequence of events that allowed Eden Prairie to tie up the score. But overall, I think he and his staff have to be pretty pleased with what they've done with their half-court offense. Been getting some second and third opportunities, and they haven't let Nia Holloway have carte blanche on low either.
No, but Nia Holloway has given them fits nonetheless. It's a tight one. We'll see what the second half brings us when we return. This is high school girls basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and Alex Nagel back with you at Maple Grove. Tie game 32-all as we get ready to start the second half. Eden Prairie and Maple Grove resuming their annual series. First half numbers, Nia Holloway with 14 points to lead all players. Molly Lenz with 10. But a three-point play by Tori Schlegel tied it up for Maple Grove. Audrey Corman with 8. Kyla Overskei with 9. Jordan Odie with 8. Alex, it's been back and forth. Neither team can pull away from each other.
Yeah, that's true, Mike. And you know that Maple Grove head coach Myra Cook would really like to be up by like 2 or 3 at this point. Then they had that opportunity late, and they made a mistake, and Eden Prairie was able to knot up the score. But overall, I think he has to be pretty pleased with the effort that his team has shown in this first half. Now, these first 2-3 minutes of the second half are going to be very critical for this Crimson team.
Molly Lenz will inbound to start the second half. She has verbal to play at Illinois State. So Eden Prairie with a couple of D1s on their roster, and I can see why Molly Lenz is going D1, and that's a foul before the shot as Nia Holloway was ready to go up. Holloway did get a featured page in the breakdown book as the writers consider her one of the toughest post defenders in the state. And we've seen that on a couple of occasions with her blocks. Northwest Suburban versus Lake Conference. Klick with the cross-court skip. Odie cannot connect on the corner 3. But Klick is there with the offensive rebound. And remember, this game could be vital for the victor if these two are close come state tournament time. Holloway was calling for it, and she draws another foul. A little frustrated that she hasn't been able to get the continuation yet, but she is drawing a couple of fouls, and they may not mean much now, but if you can get that step on somebody, that could be valuable later. Holloway. Well, they don't give you a stat for fouls drawn. They don't keep that in the scorebook, but
that's 3 already.
49 seconds. And she has drawn 3 fouls against Maple Grove.
Myra Cook wanting an explanation of that last one.
Moorjani. Maple Grove steps on the line.
Mark Cook, as you know, doubled as an assistant coach on the Maple Grove football team that made it to the Prep Bowl, lost to Lakeville South.
13-7. They went all the way, so busy time for Mark Cook. Probably a good thing that Maple Grove didn't schedule any opening weekend games over the Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah.
Because a couple of other teams had to rearrange Hutchinson and Lakeville South because of state football commitments. Dante will be there next year. Robbinsdale Cooper reaching the state semis in 5A. They lost their starting quarterback, so they had some adversity that got in their way, but big season for the Hawks. Big season for the Crimson in football.
Great recognition. I tell you what,
Audrey Corman.
I really
beating
like
Nia
Audrey
Holloway
Corman
there.
down low. She's tough, and she's really showing it tonight.
Holloway, no good. Couple of chances at it. Dead ball rebound to Maple Grove.
Big stop here early on in the second half for the Crimson. Oh,
3 ball. Corner pocket. Kyla Overskei with the score. So Maple Grove, after struggling against Nia Holloway, as far as fouls are concerned, they've dropped a couple of buckets. Nia Holloway converts the high-low play. 16 points for Nia Holloway. I talked to her mother at halftime, and she said, Nia's growing. She had a more modest take than I did. But Nolana has always...
and another.
Well, timeout that time from Mark Cook before another 10-second call. But Nolana and her family, they are a grounded group. So Nolana's not going to fall for the superlatives or hyperbole. And Nia Holloway's the same way. Nia, we talk a lot about her, but when she started her basketball career, she wasn't on any of the A teams in traveling ball. It wasn't until she got to varsity when she really started to blossom. And of the 4 incoming Gophers, Holloway was the only one not to be in the ESPN Top 100. But Nolana has said, don't worry about the rankings. Just play your game.
You know, I was just going to point out that 5-point spread that Maple Grove had here just a bit ago, I believe, was the largest of the game for them. And you didn't see Eden Prairie panic at all. They went right to their strength, Nia Holloway, to get them points, and they're right back within a single possession.
Nia Holloway does like to mimic her game after Asia Wilson. And her attire, the goggles and the ponytail, have drawn comparisons to Diamond DeShields, a member of the Chicago Sky, the WNBA champions for 2021. Nia's a big basketball fan.
Odie lost kind of a split second down there when she had the ball and she kind of caught it in an awkward position.
Nia Holloway ripped the ball out. And she's going to go coast to coast.
I tell you what, you talk about players that have that ability to take over a game. Nia Holloway certainly has to be in the conversation. She almost did it there, and she does.
She does. And that's going to result in a bucket for Annika Anderson. Nia Holloway, she's turning into a viper on defense. Another deflection.
Look at that.
Up and in.
Look at that. Look at that.
Nia Holloway. Oh, my goodness.
I don't think we saw that coming.
Nia did. And it started when she ripped the ball out
Yeah.
from Ava Cassette. Ava wasn't expecting it, but Nia, with her super long arms, she's 6'1", but her wingspan, I think, equal to a 6'7" player, just ripped that thing out like hungry hippos.
And she works really hard on that in practice when she's able to do that in a game like this. That somebody who really works on those things, those small things in practice, and makes such a huge difference.
And thanks to Nia Holloway, Eden Prairie on an 8-0 run, so they now lead by 3. 40-37.
That really changed the complexion of this one in a hurry. Now it's going to be interesting to see what adjustments Mark Cook and his staff make for the Crimson so they don't fall behind. They want to keep right in the street, a 5-point range, stay within striking distance. That's going to be critical for them now.
Nia was asked, what does it take to be a great defender? She said it can look different depending on who you're guarding. Good court awareness. They need to know what's going on. Effort and the ability to take no plays off. She said another separator is what her father refers to as the dog, your level of confidence and heart. And if those last few plays are any indication, Nia Holloway's confidence is sky high.
Ballooning right now.
Ballooning. Almost as high as the WNBA champion Chicago Sky. I know that was a stretch. So let's see if Maple Grove can respond to this adversity. Nia Holloway taking over, but Jordan Odie, she's not done. Remember, she had a strong start in the first half.
Floater by Odie. Keeps them right in the thick of the things here.
Holloway with the reverse.
She makes it look easy, doesn't she?
I have run out of superlatives to describe Nia Holloway in these last few minutes because she is doing everything. That's a foul on Molly Lenz. Holloway up to 22 points.
Only her second, yes.
Molly Lenz hit with a foul. Holloway has 2 fouls as well. No one in serious foul trouble yet. But right now, I don't think Maple Grove is worried about the fouls. Mark Cook is figuring out how the heck do I contain Nia Holloway.
Yeah.
It's funny, you were telling me how they didn't let her go carte blanche and she still got 14 points. So I guess this is what Nia looks like when she turns into She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Traveling call.
Took an extra step there.
Ava Cossette took too many steps, you're right. And back to the discussion on Nia. We mentioned she patterns her game after Wilson. Like Nia, not the biggest post in the WNBA, but knows how to use her size and can be a threat from anywhere on the court.
Yep.
Not just the paint. We saw that at South Carolina, and no different with Las Vegas. Nia does have WNBA aspirations, we might add. Now, I don't know if she'll get there because I'm not a scout. Jordan Odie doesn't care about that. She pickpockets the pass.
What a great defensive play by Odie on that one. Very opportunistic. And Maple Grove has to be like that on defense when you play a very solid team like Eden Prairie.
Molly Lenz with the drive and the finish. You've got to keep an eye on Molly Lenz with that first step and her acceleration. More pressure from Eden Prairie. Maple Grove in trouble. They get it across the timeline.
Just broke that one.
3 on the way from Overskei. Bullseye. And we're tied at 44.
And another steal.
Claire Stern read the pass. 2 on 2. Ooh, just missed it. Eagles with a chance to run. Moorjani draws the foul.
Well, things heating up here early on in this second half on both sides.
And the look on your face, not many athletes would consider playing 2 sports. Rachel Kowicki is doing that at Gustavus. D3, you think, okay, but D2?
Yeah,
hey,
you don't see that very often.
Why not? If you think you can make it work, Moorjani, if you can't decide which sport to play, why not do both?
Yep.
She's going to learn a lot about time commitment with the amount of games she's going to play, but I have to give credit to UMD for supporting her. It's really hard to do at the Division I level, play 2 sports. You almost have to do a fall and a spring. But
Connor McCaffrey at my alma mater, Iowa, was one of them, plays both basketball and baseball.
And Myra Moorjani She gets on the board, we should point out. Deep three from Overskei off the iron. Kennedy Klick, rebound, put back.
What a strong offensive rebound and put back by Kennedy Klick.
46 all. Moorjani backs off.
Here we go again.
It's Odie. The scoop, but no score. Too strong on the layup. Anderson, oh, that was close. Anderson sensed Odie coming, but almost tripped herself up in the process. Still a long way to go, but that miss from Odie, we'll have to see what happens. Holloway, that time ran into a wall. That leaves Moorjani open for three.
And that's going to be foul on Holly.
Nia Holloway not liking that call. She'll shake it off.
Yeah. That's two fouls on Holloway now.
That would be her third, I believe.
Oh, is it? Well,
and she'll take a breather.
Yeah. This is an opportunity now.
Oh, you know what? I stand corrected. That was not a foul. It was last touched by Holloway.
Okay.
So I stand corrected.
Well, big break there.
I wasn't sure. Sometimes you get those 50-50 plays from up here. Baseline, Jay, no good. Rebound, nothing doing. Dead ball rebound to Maple Grove. Again, the Crimson playing 3 straight Lake Conference teams to open the season. They get Minnetonka on Saturday. Minnetonka, they are scary good. Odie for 3.
Good. You know what's so surprising, Mike? Maple Grove getting all these second and third chances.
Well, Holloway right now on the bench getting a breather. So that gives the Crimson a chance to strike while Nia Holloway recuperates. Here's Klick. Kick out, 3 ball. Another offensive rebound, but Moorjani had enough. Got the deflection. Lenz with the steal. Molly. Again.
I tell you what, that was a tough play there. Had Corman right in her face, but she got it up and over.
14 points for Molly Lenz. We've been talking a lot about Holloway, but Molly Lenz, the X factor for the Eagles in this one. Kennedy Klick.
And count it.
Count it.
I tell you what, Kennedy Klick making a name for herself tonight.
She made a name for herself at De La Salle. She made a name for herself playing on the A teams in the 16U and 17U divisions for North Tartan. And Ellen Weesey sending Nia Holloway back in.
Not wasting any time. You know, I think what's impressive to me thus far, when Eden Prairie had that spurt, thanks to Nia Holloway, it could have been very easy for this young Maple Grove team to break out the proverbial panic button. They didn't. They hunkered down, and here we are.
Well, keep in mind, they have some experience, even though they lost a lot to graduation as Klick completes the 3-point play. That gives the Crimson a 1-point lead. Remember, Klick's a junior. This is her second year with the program. Overskei a senior, so it's not like they're baby chickens. And Jordan Odie certainly not playing like a baby chicken.
Oh, no.
She's playing like a full-fledged Blaziken. That's a Pokemon reference. Jordan's going to probably wonder what the heck is up with this guy. Well, Blaziken is a fiery, fierce option if you play the Pokemon metagame. Oh, that's a tough break. It looked like Maple Grove had the steal, and instead they're hit with a foul. Tough break. That will go against Odie.
Her second.
But a tough break because you had a chance to force the turnover, and instead, Eden Prairie with the side out. Lenz to Jones. Got it.
Jones with the basket, 32.
Tell you what, doesn't matter if somebody's in her face, she can finish.
Well, Savannah Jones has some height at 6'3", and that's a foul on Jones against Audrey Corman. That will be just the first on Jones. And we still can't shake this tight game. 50-49, Alex. I don't think any team has led by more than 5.
15. Audrey Corman's at the line for 2. For the Crimson, substitution, 24, Kyla Overskei.
Corman splits at the line. And we're tied at 50. Jones. Savannah Jones off the bench, muscling her way in these last couple of plays.
tell
She's
you
getting
what.
some tough baskets.
Yes.
Deep three for Overskei is short. Schlegel couldn't get the pass off to Lenz cleanly. And Ellen Wiese says, let's call a timeout and settle things down. So, 52-50 with about 9 minutes to go. Alex, neither team leading by more than 5. We've seen some wild swings. Well, as wild as a 5-point margin can get. What is this going to come down to?
Well, usually in a close game, Mike, it comes down to the small things. Free throws, you have to make free throws, in close games like this. You just have to. Rebounding is another big aspect. And I think Maple Grove has done, thus far anyway, a pretty good job on that front.
We'll see. And looking at the breakdown here, Eden Prairie, they're getting it done as a 2-woman show with Lenz scoring 14, Holloway with 22. Lenz only scored 6 in the game against Park Center, but again, the starters didn't play all that much.
Yeah.
Maple Grove, Overskei has 15, Odie has 12. We hear this term a lot in football, but it wouldn't surprise me if the last team to have possession ends up winning the game, because that's how close this has been.
Certainly has that feel to it right now anyway.
And it doesn't get any easier for Maple Grove, as we noted. Northwest Suburban might actually get a little easier, as weird as that sounds, but there's some good teams in that mix.
Yeah.
Robbinsdale Armstrong with Savannah McGowan. Champlain Park adding Ava Holman. Totino Grace, they beat Benilde St. Margaret's. Hannah Herzig. Totino not to be messed with, and Eden Prairie. We noted the 3 games in 3 days. They will not have another home game
So that's
until January 7th.
Is that 3 now on Corman?
Yes. Well, Alex paying attention to the game. Molly Lenz trying to make the 3 go down. So Eden Prairie, they won't have a home game until January 7th. It's going to be over a month with the neutral site and road games they have on the schedule. Kennedy Klick is fouled. She'll shoot 2. And with that, both teams out of fouls to give. We have 8:45 left, Alex. So amidst all the other factors coming into play, free throws could have a hand in deciding this game.
Well, that's what I was saying. You have to make free throws. Some big ones coming up here.
Neither team has struggled as far as free throws are concerned. Klick
what
with
a
the
strong
split,
rebound.
but Corman with the
Alert
O-board.
play by Corman.
Maple Grove, after that burst from Holloway, at least on the offensive end, getting some rebounds to go in.
Oh,
And Overskei drains the runner to give the Crimson a 1-point lead. Overskei with 17. Holloway. Out to Jones, baseline J, swish.
Back and forth we go.
Eagles retake the lead. Jones with 8. 6 coming in the second half. Stern to Klick. Again, both teams out of fouls to give. Overskei. Dead ball rebound to Eden Prairie. Overskei having some difficulty as of late with the long distance shots. One-point game. Holloway, we haven't heard much from her over the last few minutes. Had a tough feed to Lenz, and nothing doing there. Holloway with the steal.
You know, she smelled that a mile away.
Like I said, a viper. And she's no stranger to the scoop and score. A couple of years ago against Rosemount, she helped ice the game at the MLK Fury Classic, one of the annual rituals for the Eagles. Corman, that's a travel. No, an offensive foul.
Wow, that's on Corman. That would be her 4th. Let's see here.
No, it's on Overskei. Just her 2nd, but still another tough break for the Crimson.
Yeah.
I thought Corman had walked, and maybe she did, but you heard the offensive foul signaled. Team control, so no free throws in that scenario, but you knew that. Jones almost got the roll. And we still can't shake this one-possession game.
I tell you what, Nia Holloway seemingly on a mission here in this second half on both ends of the floor.
A couple years ago, her mother told me the story of how Nia avoids any carbonated beverages. I'll explain in a minute. Dead ball rebound to Eden Prairie. Because her mother was joking with Nia when she was little that if you drank any pop or carbonated beverages, it would stunt her growth. Nia took that seriously or literally and has avoided that since. Molly Lenz playing big.
Defensive laps there by the Crimson. Let Lenz get around and get an easy bucket. Now that lead is 5.
Molly Lenz sparkling for the Eagles, but this game far from over. That's going to be a foul on Jones. Her 3rd, and free throws coming for the Crimson. Claire Stern to the line. She scored 10 points in the game against Wayzata.
Savannah Jones of the Eagles picks up her 3rd personal, 17th foul. Claire Stern is at the line.
And I guess they consider that a shooting foul, but it's moot because Stern made the front end anyway. Splits at the line. Maple Grove starting to leave a couple of points at the charity stripe now. High-low for Jones. And Savannah Jones with 10, 8 in the second half.
Well, this would seem like the critical stretch here for Maple Grove. You want to get this back to within a single possession if you can, but you want to be efficient about it too.
Klick with the fake. Oh, Corman had it.
She wanted to go for that reverse, just didn't work.
Holloway in trouble. Look out, John.
Oh. Mark Cook not happy with that turnover.
Maple Grove starting to run into some difficulties. That layup by Corman, Klick with a great move, a great fake to set her up.
Last few possessions, they've come up dry.
With 5 minutes to go,
this
this
is
is right. You got to convert those buckets. Molly Lenz, this could be big. Bullseye.
It is.
Lenz with 19.
All of a sudden, that lead is 9 now.
Overskei. Maple Grove needs this 3. They don't get it. Eden Prairie on the run out. Schlegel to the line for 2. I look at Molly Lenz, Alex, and what she has done. It goes back to what Ellen was saying earlier. You know all about Nia Holloway, but there are some others you want to highlight. Molly Lenz is making sure we know about her too.
Yep.
So in a game that had been tight, neck and neck all the way through, Eden Prairie can make this a double-digit lead.
You know, and all it took was one little dry stretch by the Crimson.
And remember, it was Maple Grove who threw the first punch in the second half with a couple of buckets, and then Nia Holloway just flipped the switch into Super Nia. That's what I call her, owing to what she has done in state track and basketball. Her friends call her the legend, and she is certainly leaving a legendary mark at Eden Prairie history, but I think Super Nia is just as fitting. Not only is she a great basketball player, Nia also holds the school record in the high jump.
Now facing a double-digit deficit. This is where you think Maple Grove might have to start gambling a little bit.
Odie.
Good pass. What a block.
I think Holloway got a piece of it. 3 on the way.
And all of a sudden, the lid on the basket for the Crimson.
Eden Prairie will use a timeout. You wonder why would they do that when they're up by 11 with about 4 minutes to go.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this game isn't over.
Oh, no.
Even without a shot clock.
there's still a lot of time left. But now we've seen the first really decisive move made by Eden Prairie. And like I said, that little dry stretch that the Crimson got on has proved costly for them.
Well, Nia Holloway, Ellen Wiese called her great offensive and defensive player. She is a game changer with her ability and knowledge of the game. And Molly Lenz, she also considers an excellent scorer and defender. And Savannah Jones, remember, she has 8 off the bench. Ellen said she would be a force inside and out this year. And if there's anyone who can evaluate talent, Ellen Wiese, certainly one of them. She's also the executive director of the Metro Stars, coaches a team there. So she's hung around this game a long time.
Well, goodness, remember those great teams she had at Orono a few years back?
They came so close to winning in 3A. And she wanted to build Eden Prairie in 4A. Now, they had some history. They made it to the championship round back in 2011, for example. But Ellen Wiese wanted to give 4A a go, and I'd say she has done a tremendous job. 5-second call. Myra Moorjani is going.
Ellen Wiese wanted.
Yeah, she's like, what's up with that?
What an explanation on that one.
She's like, what's up with that? And there's no Keenan Thompson to serenade her.
That one kind of surprised me, too, to be quite honest.
I thought she had enough distance, but the officials say otherwise. A break for the Crimson, though, 3:47.
And they need to get something going right now.
Only 2 timeouts remain for Maple Grove. Klick. That could be a play that sparks the Crimson.
I tell you what, if there's somebody who can spark some magic for this Crimson team, it's Kennedy Klick.
This is probably a time where Maple Grove would love to have the shot clock right about now.
Yeah.
That won't come for 2 years. Kennedy Klick. Completes the 3-point play. Maple Grove cuts the deficit to 8, 65-57, 3.5 to go. Both teams in the bonus. How does Eden Prairie approach this? They could stall if they wanted.
I think you still want to continue to be aggressive on the offensive end. Do what got you in the position you're in.
Well, you've got a couple of dynamic playmakers in Lenz and Holloway, and you see Eden Prairie being awfully patient. Now Holloway with the long two. I'm not sure that's the shot they wanted. And then Holloway with a foul, so Maple Grove has a chance to cut into the deficit with the clock stopped at 3:03. It's still 1-1. Nia Holloway with 3 fouls.
Claire Stern took kind of a nasty fall there, kind of an awkward fall, but looks like she's okay.
Stern with 3 points. We've seen comebacks many times in this sport, Alex, even without a shot clock, so don't write out Maple Grove yet.
Well, we saw STMA pull off that massive comeback against Rosemount here this last weekend.
STMA, that's right, they were trailing double digits. Maple Grove trailed by as much as 11. It's now a 6-point game. That puts a little more pressure on the Eagles, and ooh, that was close. Nia Holloway made a cut inside, and I thought that was going to be a turnover, but it must have brushed the leg of Klick. 65-59.
Boy, that was an opportunity there to seal that pass. It was hanging out there for a split second.
Well, it's still not over. Maple Grove not out of this. And Eden Prairie playing a little more conservatively now. Schlegel, got it. That's a big bucket.
Yes, it is.
That puts Schlegel up to 8. Odie off the curl.
Does not
Almost got
bounce.
the Plinko bounce. And now Eden Prairie can work the clock. And that's exactly what they're going to do. No, Moorjani wants the dagger instead. Got it.
What. You talk about daggers. That was one there by Myra Moorjani.
And that was set up by Holloway. It looked like she had an opening for a second. Holloway with the deflection. That should just about do it, as Moorjani can't get the fast break play, but that 3 by Moorjani, an 11-point margin, 1.5 to go. I think Eden Prairie will get out of here with the win. Odie with the turnaround.
Just too many empty possessions here in this second half from about the midway point on for Maple Grove.
The defensive tenacity of Nia Holloway in the second half has just been outstanding.
It really has been.
And Molly Lenz, let's not forget about her, what she has done all game. Holloway may get most of the attention for Eden Prairie this year, but Molly Lenz, she is someone to watch in that 2023 class.
She's, I think, what you would probably aptly call one of those unsung heroes, or heroines in this case.
Well, I don't think Illinois State considers her an unsung heroine, because that's where she's going to play in a couple of years. Moorjani to the line. It was tight. Maple Grove were up by 5 after scoring on the first couple of plays in the second half. And then I'm not sure what transpired, but Nia Holloway just took over. It started with that rip against Cosette. That led to a quick burst. And Eden Prairie.
Oh, look at that.
On cue, Nia Holloway reminding us of why Eden Prairie is going to hang on and get the win.
Those players that have that takeover ability, like Nia Holloway has, they're just really special. They know when to flip the switch and do what they need to do to help their team win, and we've seen it here tonight, Mike.
Nia Holloway's favorite moment defensively was her sophomore year section semifinal against Minnetonka. She's not exactly sure what happened in the second half. All she does remember was wanting to win, so she put all her effort into hunting down every ball, came up with 5 steals, and EP did get the win, and they beat Chaska in the section final that year. Holloway adds 2 more, 26 now. And I think Nia Holloway played
Put
a part in
feather
that
her
as
cap
well.
on that one.
Nia Holloway, something she didn't have 2 years ago, at least when I covered her, that takeover gene. As the Eagles are just going to run out the clock, 30 seconds to go. They're going to wrap up with this win. How about the run the Eagles put on to close out this game?
Yeah.
Nia Holloway, the catalyst, but Molly Lenz, she's going to the line, played a big part in that as well. But going back to what I was saying, Nia Holloway, she had a lot of talent as a sophomore, but I don't remember her with this kind of takeover gene.
No, it's been amazing to watch her and her game grow over these last few years. She's just so fun to watch. On the other hand, a disappointing finish, obviously, for Maple Grove, but a learning experience, too. They can look back at this game. They did a lot of things right there, keeping this game close. They were in position, but they just had that one stretch where they came up with a lot of empty possessions, and that cost them in the end.
And this is where you'd like to have Ari Gordon as Kennedy Klick scores, getting around Holloway. You wonder if they were to rerun this game, if Ari Gordon was in the lineup. Ari, no slouch either. Maybe it ends a little differently. Nia Holloway, she's going to be the star. Well, Molly Lenz, too. She's another North Tartan product. They put out athletes year in and year out. But even in the AAU season now, it's different because you can mix it up, and the top teams, North Tartan and Fury, often put in the best players from high school teams. But Nia, she brought that same defensive energy for North Tartan. Where she struggled sometimes was finishing on offense. I did not see that tonight. Again, that takeover gene.
Yeah.
There's a long way to go, but I haven't seen many players who can flip the switch and lead the way.
Yeah.
Andrea Adams comes to mind. Paige Beckers, of course. Angel Robinson. I'm not saying Nia Holloway is in that conversation yet, but she took a big step in that direction tonight.
I'll tell you what, no question about it.
And we'll all get to witness her impressive abilities at Minnesota next year. In fact, all 4 of the incoming freshmen were in attendance for the game against North Carolina last night. Final seconds, Eden Prairie will go to 2-0. Maple Grove will fall to 0-2. And it doesn't get any easier for the Crimson. Minnetonka comes up next. Eden Prairie starts their 3-game stretch in 3 days with a statement win, 76-61.
Well, I tell you what, we saw a little bit of everything tonight. It was such a close, tight game that was hanging in the balance for a good chunk of this contest. And, just all it took was just a few empty possessions by Maple Grove that opened up the door for this Eden Prairie Eagle team. And boy, I tell you what, they took advantage of it.
They certainly did. We'll try to get a word with 2 players who took that advantage, Nia Holloway and Molly Lenz, when we return. The Eagles knock off the Crimson, 76-61. Joining us are Nia Holloway and Molly Lenz. Nia, we'll start with you. 26 points, but it was what you did to start the second half. Maple Grove got the first couple of buckets. They go up by 5, and I said you just turned into a Viper, She-Hulk. I think any description would have fit. You fought back, and it started with you just ripping the ball out of Ava Cosette when she wasn't expecting it. How did you flip the switch?
I think it was just my mental toughness, just because I want to get my team a win, so I was willing to do anything to get it.
It's like you said a couple years ago against Minnetonka when you don't remember anything else other than wanting to win, and from that play, you were getting deflections, a couple of runouts. You did just about everything. Blocks. I haven't seen too many players with that takeover gene. You exhibited that tonight. Your mother says you have a high ceiling and you're improving, so how do you think you've improved over these years?
I think one thing I've really worked on is just my ability to take the ball up the court, even though I wasn't always so comfortable with it. But now I see that I can be a real threat that way. So
Was any of that you trying to channel your favorites like Asia Wilson or Diamond DeShields?
Definitely.
All right, so look out, Vegas, Chicago. Hey, someone's got to back up those defending champs.
I agree.
Candace Parker can't play forever.
I hope so.
No, we tease. No, Candace Parker doing great things. Molly, you did great things too. 20 points, but your first step, your ability to attack the lane kept Maple Grove on their heels defensively. How do you figure out when to penetrate and when to use that speed?
I think part of it just depends on how they close out, and then also part of it tonight was my shots weren't falling right away, so I just tried to get to the basket to get started.
And you and Nia together, Savannah Jones too. The game was tied until you pulled away midway through the second. What do you think allowed Eden Prairie to find that extra gear?
I think the same thing Nia said, just wanting to win, coming out of halftime strong and wanting to get on a run.
This starts 3 games in 3 days. Your coach said you two can handle the challenge. With AAU, of course, you're used to multiple games in a day, but in the high school setting, how do you prepare for that kind of stretch? You rarely see that outside of state tournaments.
I think it's really just creating a routine so that you can get in the same schedule every day. Like tomorrow, I'm going to do the same thing that I did today, just so I can get into the routine for our late game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think kind of the same thing, and then just like not focusing too much on one game, just like taking it one game at a time. That didn't make any sense.
It made perfect sense to me.
Not getting too hung up on one game, taking it one game at a time.
I knew what you meant. This isn't part of your job description. It's okay. You're allowed a mulligan, especially with what you did tonight. What are you most excited about this season and getting a statement win after running over Park Center on Tuesday?
Mostly just what Molly said, like taking it one game at a time. I know we can be a really good team, but we really just want to focus on ourselves so we can keep progressing this season.
Yeah, I think taking it one game at a time. I'm really looking forward to conference play and then hopefully get back to state.
Well, so am I. If all things work out, I might have to pay a few more visits with what you two did tonight. Before we go, you want to say hi to anybody?
Hi, Kendall. I know you're going to watch this.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
Well, Kendall and Mother and everyone else who is watching this, we appreciate the support. Thanks for stopping by. Congrats on the win. And Nia, you might be 6'1" in height, but you played like 7'1" tonight. And Molly, I think you played a few inches higher too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nia Holloway and Molly Lenz. That wraps up our coverage here from Maple Grove. For the rest of our crew, I'm Mike Peden. Thanks for watching.